With Burnley sat up at the top of the Championship for this World Cup break, here is a look at their transformation under Vincent Kompany. We're going to take a little break from the World Cup coverage at the moment. Don't forget to get involved in the comments and hit like on this video as we look at the job done by Vincent Kompany over at Burnley. Burnley were relegated from the Premier League last season. The levy finally broke there after nearly 10 years under the management of Sean Dyche. Dyche did an absolutely brilliant job at Burnley. 2 Championship promotions, 6 straight seasons in that long run after a little bit of yo-yoing to begin with, up in the Premier League, including a 7th place finish in 2018. What Dyche did, he did on a budget, obviously in comparison with those big Premier League teams. And it was tactically very, very interesting. In that brilliant 7th place season, ended in 2018, Burnley came up 2nd for clearances, 6th best in terms of that defence and the goals conceded, but 16th for possession, 18th for pass completion, 3rd for accurate long passes, and 2nd for accurate crosses. I thought it was great. It was a throwback 4-4-2. They made it hard for teams. They made teams defend. And by and large, it worked. Burnley tried to get themselves out of trouble at the end of last season by firing Sean Dyche. It didn't work. And what we've seen since is a complete flip, an identity change, a philosophy change, whatever you want to call it. Now, we've seen these go completely south at other clubs. And you've got to factor in as well that Sean Dyche was a manager at Burnley who'd been there a hell of a long while and was completely ingrained with the clubs. Even if you don't change the philosophy and the playing style, that can be hard enough. But to do both and bring in Vincent Kompany with all his links to Pep Guardiola over the recent seasons, you can see it was quite the gamble. Kompany came in during the pre-season, and I have to say I wasn't actually that bowled over when I looked into his work at Belgium. It's the sort of league that only a few teams really challenge in, and it hadn't been that successful a time. Obviously, huge name in English football, huge status, brilliant player and all of that, but it did still seem a bit of a gamble. What I was bowled over was the first game for Burnley up at Huddersfield, where they got themselves a win with the eyes of the world on. It's always a lot of people watching with the Premier League not having started. That Friday night game in the Championship, it's football's back, and everyone kind of have a look to see what Burnley were going to do. Well, immediately, and it was mighty impressive, this Burnley team was a 4-3-3 with the midfield circulating and the ball being pinged about, loads and loads of possession. They got themselves in front and they got the win. And all of a sudden it was, okay, this is what we're going to get from Burnley. And it looks like it's going to work. I should point out that Huddersfield had also had their own managerial change that didn't go quite so well. Huddersfield weren't very good. We do need to put that into the pot. But I think everybody took one look at Burnley and thought, okay, this could be interesting. Roll on, and it's 21 played, and we're at this midway break before the Championship returns after the World Cup. Burnley atop. Not quite at 2 points per game, the mythical total we all kind of judge teams by in the Championship, but they're not far off it, and they're projecting just shy of 90 points, which in even the hardest seasons will likely get you over the line 9 times out of 10. I would suggest this season will definitely get you over the line in automatic promotion. There was a little run earlier in the season for Burnley where it was a little bit draw heavy, and we kind of looked at them in the similar way where we looked at Swansea, where they were having lots of possession, quite pleasing on the eye, but not necessarily killing games off, giving up leads, things of that nature. It has come good in recent weeks, and it's been a really, really good run for Burnley to take them, obviously, to the top of the table. Numbers, extremely viable, you have to say. They look, I know the table tells you they're the best team in the league, but sometimes you look for the background evidence, and we do appear to have it. Most goals, fewest defeats, 5 points clear of those playoff spots. And also the technical numbers in terms of Vincent Kompany taking his style, which is frankly complete opposite to what it was, and it working. They're top for possession, second in the pass completion stakes, and those numbers that used to be high under Sean Dyche, they're in the bottom 3 for clearances and interceptions. Now, we said earlier in the video that it can be very, very hard in terms of an ingrained philosophy and players that are used to playing a certain way not being able to play another way. So recruitment, obviously a very, very big thing. As you can imagine, after 6 years in the Premier League, Burnley did have saleable assets and there were 4 large sales. Of course, with this being the Championship, we have to point out the lovely cash flow advantage that those juicy parachute payments give you. So whilst acknowledging that, we must say that 2 things can be true. Yes, relegated teams have that lovely cash flow advantage, but Burnley have spent it wisely. We do see some people pilfer away that advantage. And the recruitment has been really, really strong in different ways, really. The loan market has been utilised cleverly. Harwood, Bellis and Mattheson particularly, they're from elite clubs, but they've been in the Championship before. That experience has been tapped into. Bayer and Tjelta look impactful in on loan too. If I wasn't bowled over by Vincent Kompany's performance in Belgium, he certainly was paying attention to who the better players in the league were, because they've recruited from the Belgian market really, really well. Benson, Zeruri, Cullen, Vitinho, Bastien, a few of those are real key players in the team as well. Interestingly, down to League One as well. Scott Twine's a shame we haven't seen him as an absolute star for MK last season. He's been injured for the longest time. McNally in as well. And it's not a myth when people talk about the contact book, because he's also, Kompany exploited, his status as a Man City legend to get Harwood Bellis, also Muric in goal, and Egan Riley coming in from the Etihad on permanent deals. So, to sum things up, just very impressed with Vincent Kompany thus far. Of course, there is still over half a season remaining. I think I had Burnley 6th in my pre-season 1 to 24. And I think I had them there. I mean, you can click back and check exactly what I said. On the basis I wasn't sure how Kompany would do, but I felt that the squad would be strong enough to be in the top 6. They have certainly surpassed my expectations in that regard. And I just wondered whether it would be a sort of slower route to getting his ideas across. But no, he took a hammer to it and it has worked out fairly well. Yes, financial advantage at this level and maybe no outstanding challenger this season. When I say outstanding challenger, there are good sides. But do we really see more than 2 teams pushing up towards that 90-point mark? Possibly not. Could, of course, change in the second half. And again, I'll reiterate my point. We've seen clubs try and do this change of philosophy. We're having a reset. All the quotes come out. The new manager comes in the press conference, says, I'm going to do this, that and the other. We're going to play this way. And then they fall flat on their face. That has absolutely, categorically not happened here at Burnley. And I applaud Vincent Kompany for that. So get your comments in on Vincent Kompany and that Burnley transformation. And let me know, do you think, are they going to keep course? Is it going to be a 90-point season? That would inevitably end up in promotion straight back, and we'll see big old Vinny working in the Premier League. If you want to check back, there's a couple of videos I would recommend here. You can go up there and have a look at my thoughts on when Kompany arrived, or you could go up there and have a look at my initial reaction seeing Burnley's Kompany live in the flesh in that opening day win over Huddersfield.